Alright folks, here we are, Colonel Klink Magnet Hunters and Dirty Money Metal Detecting, one and the same outfit, same group. Here we are tonight with a little restoration project on an item that Mr. Drewman found on a piece of property which was under construction where they were bulldozing it. It was an old home site, early home site, and they bulldozed it so everything that was on the bottom was brought to the surface, and this is one of the things that Drew found. And what we're going to do is we're going to restore it. So when you find something like this, just because it's severely mushroomed, rusted, and all that, doesn't mean that you need to throw this away. Here's one that he found when he was at camp during the summer, a 5-pounder, and we totally restored it. We took the mushrooming away, we ground the surface, we resharpened the edge, took all the surface rust off of it, coated it in Johnson's paste wax, and she's ready for business again. So follow us along as we go through the steps. The first step we're going to do, if you can see right here, is I took my square and we squared off the mushroom, lining it up with the outside edges here, 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 and here, and then draw a line so we have a reference line. So what we'll do is we're going to take an angle grinder with a metal cutting blade, and we're going to cut off this excess because it's so mushroomed that it would take you forever and a year to grind that off, and it's a waste of a grinding wheel. So let's just circumvent that process, shorten it up by cutting off the excess and then grinding it to the finished shape. Then we'll derust it, sharpen the edge, and have a finished product. So stay tuned because we're about to get busy. Alright guys, the first stage is done, which is to cut off all the mushrooming using an angle grinder and a very thin kerf cutting blade, so you're not removing as much material, so it doesn't take as long to cut through. Remembering to use a damp sponge every so often to keep this thing cool so you don't change the temper of the steel. Okay, so cut a little bit, dab it with a sponge, cut a little, dab with a sponge. Now the next step is to run it on the wire wheel, get all the rust off of it, and then we'll move over to the grinder to shape this edge. So you can see here, this is the difference after we run it through the wire wheel, okay? And we'll even polish it even more, but to get the initial rust off there, we'll polish it with that, or remove the rust with that, and then we'll use a flat disc on the angle grinder, which will bring it down even more. And then we'll get down to the finishing edge, the cutting edge, and we'll shape that. So we'll be right back and we'll show you what this looks like, all shaped and cleaned up and ready to go, so you can see the difference in the tone of metals. Stay tuned, stay with us. See us on the next step. Alright folks, we cut all the mushrooming off with the angle grinder. We also went over to the grinding wheel and we profiled this edge, got it all nice and rounded, perpendicular to the shaft of the wedge. And now what we're doing is we're doing final touches of making it all nice and smooth and perfectly flat on top with a mill file. And for all you people out there who neglect your tools, what you should be doing is when you're done at the end of your job, you should be inspecting the outside edge of this, and then if there is any mushrooming or deforming, you quick run over to the bench grinder, you touch it up, you hit it with your mill file, and you take care of your tools because your tools take care of you. Okay, enough lecturing. Alright, so we're coming across the top here and we're just smoothing this all out nice and smooth. Remember to lift and push with the file strokes, okay? Otherwise you end up dulling your file and rounding off your teeth. So it's a push cut with a mill bastard file, okay? Alright, we're just going to keep smoothing this, and so stay tuned and see how this turns out. Then we're going to take and flip it on the sides. We're going to file the edges around the sides and make those smooth. File the edge. One more deal on the angle grinder with the flap disc to make it all shined up, and then we're going to hit it with Johnson's paste wax, and that seals the metal and protects it, keeps it from rusting, and then she's ready for action. So stay tuned and see the final closing steps. Alright, we got everything done. Now we're going to put on the final step, which is a coat of Johnson's paste wax. As you can see on the lid here, it says long-lasting shine and protection. Enriches and beauties and protects wood, metal, leather, and plastics. Keep your tools from rusting. So we're going to put this on, and then we're going to show you the final product. Alright people, here we are. You saw what it looked like before. Looked like a nuclear warhead had gone off on the top. Big huge mushroom about out to here on each side. Cut it all off, ground it down, shaped the top on the grinding wheel, did the finding touches with the mill file. She's all smooth, she's all nice and square and level across the top there, as you can see. Alright, and a nice sharpened edge on there. All the rust is gone. She's completely coated in Johnson's paste wax. And this bad boy, who somebody threw away because of tool neglect, is now back in action to split wood once again. So, another version of Treasure with dirty money metal detecting. Getting down right here in the shop of restoration and raising it from the dead. We'll see you next time on the next show at some undisclosed location with me, Chase, and Drew. We'll see you next time. And remember, Jesus is Lord. It's okay to have treasure as long as treasure don't have you. See ya! Alright, here's part of the blooper reel. Check this out. You look right here. We go, oh look, it's the maker's mark. Look, it says GGLES. I wonder what that is. And then it dawned on me that this has all been ground down and all that kind of stuff. It's a part of wear goggles because this is a hardened surface. And when you strike it, there's the risk of it chipping. So just remember, Goggles isn't the guy that made this. It's a safety warning.